just recently I was having a conversation with one of my clients about the COVID situation. And one of the things that we talked about was the way that we'd actually got used to the holiday type mode that we'd been in for a while. And what it got me to thinking is about 7 important C's. And I'm not talking about COVID or Christmas or the other C word. I'm talking about 7 C's of change, maybe. But let's start with the first one. And about the first one is about conditioning and how we've been conditioned. And we all know that the first 5 to 7 years of our life, we are picking up all sorts of beliefs and conditioning from our parents and our peer group. And then we spend the next 25, 30 years proving those beliefs that we've had. We've been conditioned into a way. And now we seem to be being conditioned by the media all about the COVID pandemic and everything and how we should and shouldn't think. So one of the things for me is about how do we be aware of that conditioning and make sure that we can actually change it if we want to. Which brings me on to the second C, which is the C of change. You know, we've just had the biggest lesson about change. Everything's changed. And that is the truth of it. Everything changes all of the time. The only thing that doesn't change is change. You know, it's nature's way. It's either growing or it's dying. It has to change. So be aware of that change, and instead of fighting it, accept it and embrace it, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. The third C is choice. I believe we all have a choice about everything. And the very, very few things that we don't have a choice about, we actually have a choice of what we think about that. So we can change the way that we think about stuff that's happening. We can choose about the COVID situation. We can choose to think it's a terrible thing and woe is me and it's the end of the world. Or we can choose to think what we're going to do about it and something, you know, change our beliefs about the whole situation. So the next one, which leads on nicely from choice, is about the can't word. And the things that we lie to ourselves, those lies that we'd say about, I can't find time to put in that exercise. I can't find time to go for a walk. I can't find time to get myself organised, or I can't be bothered. I can't find any motivation to do that. Just in that language pattern makes it difficult. So what about changing that can't for the next C to a can? And it speaks for itself. Let's say how we can do something. Find a way of how we're going to make something happen rather than all of the reasons why it can't happen. The sixth C, and it's one of probably the most important things, if you want to actually make something work, is about commitment. Commitment is another one of those words. It's a bit like integrity, if you like. Commitment and integrity. It's about like being pregnant. You can't be a little bit pregnant. You're either committed or you're not. You're either pregnant or you're not. So if you want something, how committed are you to actually getting it? Or are you just saying that you want to be successful, or you want to be happy, or whatever? Are you going to be committed to it? You know, I hear lots of people say, oh yeah, I'm really going to do this, but they're not committed. They do it for a little bit and then they give up. Which brings me on to the seventh C, which is consistency. And if you've got something, be consistent with what you're doing. If you've got a good idea, you know, if your product or service is being done by somebody else and they're doing well, that tells me it works. So be consistent in what you're doing to move yourself forward. And then the eighth C, and I know I only said 7, but this is the challenge for you, the C of challenge. I challenge you to actually employ the 7 C's that we've talked about. There's the challenge. Let me hear about it. Put your comments in my YouTube channel here. There's another C channel. Come on, get committed and be consistent. And if you've enjoyed this video, please watch the next video just here or subscribe to my YouTube channel just here.